Someone in the kitchen with Dinah. When Dinah went to sleep on Sunday evening, she had no idea she was going to meet God very soon. Dinah awoke as she usually did on Monday morning at 7 a.m. Dinah brushed her teeth and took a shower. Then she brushed her hair. As she stepped out of her bathroom, she prepared to make herself eggs and toast, the same breakfast she had always made every day for roughly 30 years. Dinah began by breaking 2 eggs into a frying pan, then putting 2 pieces of bread into the toaster. She seasoned her eggs with pepper and salt as she always did, and added water to the pan before placing a lid on top to trap the steam. She waited the perfect amount of time before releasing it, as she had become quite practiced in doing. This morning, though, was different. Dinah, as she turned around to grab a glass of water, found herself not alone. In the kitchen with Dinah was God. Yes, that God. Dinah had never met God before, but after looking at God for just a moment, Dinah found it kind of anticlimactic. I can't really describe it, and neither could Dinah, but it had that kind of look that makes you go, oh sure, that's God, and being near it felt pretty much like what it's like to be near God. Looking at it made you think that all those ideas of bearded men and balls of light and tentacle masses were silly. That's not what God looks like. God looks like the thing in Dinah's kitchen. Are you God? Dinah asked, which was dumb because as I've devoted several sentences to, she definitely knew it was God. Yep, it answered pretty straightforwardly because it already knew that Dinah knew it was God because it was God. Dinah, it said in that voice that God has, I need you to do something for me, a divine quest. Dinah was never particularly religious, but not doing a divine quest just felt like a bad plan, so Dinah forgot about the eggs for a moment. What is it? Dinah asked. I need you to kill the president, God said as a gun materialized on the ground in front of Dinah. It was a pretty cool gun, the kind of gun that kills the president and that goes in a museum as the gun that killed the president at one time. And everyone goes, what a good gun. I can see why Dinah chose to kill the president with that one. Of the United States, Dinah continued her pattern of only asking questions. No, Venezuela. Just kidding. Yes, of the United States, silly. God was a bit of a jokester, but in a way that really made sense for God if you thought about it for a while and maybe studied a scripture or two. Why? Dinah still contributed nothing meaningful to this conversation. If you don't, the world will end, said God, and Dinah knew it was telling the truth. Dinah picked up the gun and then hesitated for a moment. Can I eat my eggs first? She turned back to turn off the stove. Yeah, I guess so, said God, but it was not guessing, because God does not guess. Dinah took out the bread, which had become toast, which had become a bit cold after popping out of the toaster during the whole kill the president talk. She tried to apply some butter to them, but though it spread, it did not melt, which was disappointing. She placed her eggs on top of the toast and then sat down at the table. Do you want me to get you anything? Dinah felt weird, what with God just hanging out. No, I'm fine, God replied, and there was a bit of an awkward silence. Dinah took a bite out of her toast and eggs, and it was alright. Definitely not the best she made, but to be fair, her rhythm was a bit thrown off. Suddenly, there was a cough from the doorway behind her, like someone was trying to get her attention. She turned around, and there was God, standing in the doorway. She turned her head and saw that God was also still standing in her kitchen. She looked back at this new God and saw that it also looked a lot like God, just different. The kind of look that makes you go, now hang on a second, maybe God looks like that instead. And a smell that makes you think, maybe this is a bit more God than that other God I met. Who are you? Dinah asked, before realizing there was still some food in her mouth, which was embarrassing. God, said the new God. Dinah was convinced by that. Like hell you are, said the first God. Dinah was very surprised that God just said hell, but could excuse it given the surprising circumstance. Whatever. New God turned to Dinah, looking with those things God has instead of eyes. Listen, Dinah, I don't know what this guy's been telling you, but you need to kill the vice president. With that, a gun appeared on the table. It was another really nice gun, but not quite as nice as the other one. The kind that shoots the vice president in the face. And then, when the cops look at it, they go, damn, that's a nice gun, but not too nice to kill the vice president. It's no president shooting gun, it's just right. And then they give Dinah a thumbs up for such a great gun choice. And if I don't kill the vice president? Dinah asked, already knowing the answer. The world will end, said the new God. Dinah was also sure it was telling the truth. That's ridiculous, said the first God. Don't listen to this fake God, Dinah. You have to kill the president. Can't I kill both? Dinah asked sheepishly. No, they yelled back. I'm the real God, Dinah. This is just some trickster dickhole, said the new God. Dinah was very surprised by God's use of the word dickhole. Nuh-uh, said the first God, which was not a great argument, but Dinah did find it very convincing. Dinah sat there for a moment with 2 guns and an uneaten breakfast on her table. Both of these guns definitely were God. Dinah had a strong feeling that both were telling the truth. Unfortunately for Dinah, though, that doesn't make any sense. How do I know which one's the real God? Dinah decided to let the gods sort this one out. I'm the real God, said the first. Watch this. In an instant, Dinah relived every moment of her life. Every waking experience that had led to this moment raced by her. That's nothing, said the second. Check this out. And suddenly both of the gods were gone, and Dinah went on with her day, then her life. She worked, she played, she cried, she laughed, she hurt, and she healed. She found love and lost it, only to find it in a different shape. She had children and grandchildren. She died old, happy, and surrounded by loved ones. Suddenly, she was back in the kitchen, the years slipping through her fingers like water. Dinah remembered that morning in the kitchen. Had she ever really left? My husband, my kids, was any of that real? Dinah asked, panicked. Of course it was real, said second god. I'm God, I'm not gonna half-ass it. You wanna go, buddy? Said the first god. Oh, let's go, said the second. Suddenly, every cloud in the sky turned to atom bombs and dropped on Earth, before they were suddenly frozen, along with everything else in the world, then unfrozen as the world flooded over. Then everyone turned into fish people, then squids, then underwater rabbits. Then the composition of water changed, the fundamental structure of hydrogen altered. Life could no longer be supported and never had been. Then it did exist, but it lived off cherry cola. Its blood had cherry cola, humans were 60% cherry cola, it rained cherry cola, and was very sticky. Then the Earth was so small everyone fell off it. Then the universe was so small everyone fell off it, and that somehow made sense. Then the universe was shaped like a kiddie pool, then a dog, then Dinah's neighbor Ralph. Then Dinah's neighbor Ralph was shaped like the universe and married to a supermodel who looked like a tree but wasn't a tree. Through all this, Dinah's kitchen was unharmed. She sat there looking out the window, somehow understanding everything as it happened. She didn't understand which god was doing what, or how this was supposed to help her pick, or why they needed her. Surely the president and vice president had been killed several times over throughout all of this. Dinah looked at the gods, then looked outside, which seemed to be made out of jelly. But jelly was made out of deer, and berries ruled the world, but soon the dolphins would revolt. Dinah realized that there wasn't much else to do, so she grabbed the gun and killed herself. The two gods stopped after they realized what had happened. They quietly set the world back to how it was and slowly left. They mostly left her alone after that.